Hello and welcome to the Run Testers. My name's Nick, and in this video we're going to be comparing the Nike Invincible 3 and the Puma Magnify Nitro 2. Just hit myself in the face with laces. The Invincible 3 and Magnify Nitro 2 are both big cushion shoes with big stack heights designed mainly for easy and long runs and cruising around daily training. They're very much comfort first shoes. The Magnify Nitro is the cheaper shoe. It's £130 or $140, whereas the Invincible 3 is £170 or $880. The Invincible 3 is heavier, it's 316 grams or 11.1 ounces in my UK size 9, whereas the Magnify Nitro is 298 grams or 10.5 ounces in the same size. They both have stack heights of 40 millimeters at the heel, but the drop on the Puma is 10 millimeters, bringing it to 30 millimeters at the forefoot, whereas the drop on the Nike is 9 millimeters, so it drops down to 31 millimeters in the forefoot. The Magnify Nitro 2 has an engineered mesh upper with lots of padding around the tongue and heel, as you'd expect from a cushion shoe like this. There's a little bit of extra structure on the medial side through Puma's power tape, which has been added around there. Then you've got a full nitro foam midsole. So this is Puma's nitrogen-infused TPEE foam. I think on the previous model of the shoe, you had a dual density midsole with some EVA in there, but with the Magnify Nitro 2, it is all nitro foam. Then you've got a Puma grip outsole, you've got a thick layer, not complete coverage on the shoe, there is some exposed foam, but all the key impact areas are covered with a good layer of what is a fantastic outsole material as we've seen on other Puma shoes. With the Nike Invincible 3, you've got a Flyknit upper with actually a slightly odd back of the shoe design. There is padding there, but it is a little bit less padded than most shoes in this category, and it does create a little bit of a worry about heel slippage on this shoe. There's a heel clip embedded into the foam that adds stability at the back of the shoe there, which you need because you've got a very big ZoomX midsole, which is obviously Nike's soft bouncy foam used on racing shoes. It creates a very unique ride with the Invincible, but also can be a bit wobbly, so Nike has added stability with that heel clip and in general quite a wide design of the shoe. And the outsole uses the waffle tread that you see on quite a few Nike shoes, and you've got very extensive coverage here. It's pretty much a full outsole as opposed to the Puma, which has those exposed areas. Okie dokie, I've got Tom here now, and we're going to talk about the fit of the two shoes first. Tom, do these shoes fit?
Both of these shoes fit me. Both of these shoes have a very similar fit for me, in fact. Size 8, these are size 8 in the UK. I think there's plenty of room in both of them. They're definitely not narrow shoes for me. And they've both got a nice bit of room in the forefoot. So yeah, I definitely stick to my size in these shoes.
Yeah, same for me. I'm a UK 9. I've got UK 9s in these shoes with both these brands. It's a US 10. That's my normal size for Nike and Puma in general, and they fit me really well. Nike, there is a bit of concern about the heel. Like, it's been a bit loose. I can feel it being a bit loose, but it's never actually caused me any big problems on the run. I know it has caused some other people problems. It's something to look out for, but I haven't had big heel rub issues with it. So overall, I was perfectly happy, true to size, with both these shoes. Run test then, Tom. We've got two quite similar shoes on paper, well, apart from the foam shoes, but they're big stack shoes. They're 40mm shoes at the heel, fairly big drop, designed for cushioned cruising, but they've got super foams in there though. You've got ZoomX and you've got Puma's Nitro foam. How do you feel they feel on the run? Let's start with the Invincible. We have the Invincible first.
Okay, so the Invincible, I don't think I've ever really said that I'm a massive fan of any of the Invincible shoes, apart from a very specific reason, which is those really easy, comfortable runs where you just want something that makes the run enjoyable, like recovery runs and things like that. So I remember the first Invincible, I enjoyed it for those runs. I thought it was a very nice, fun shoe to wear. I liked the bounciness of it. It was just very enjoyable and cozy to wear. In Invincible 3, it's sort of lost a lot of that. It feels a little bit more stable, but I also don't feel like there's a lot of fun in this shoe anymore, and by doing that it's actually sort of negated the only reason why I would have used the Invincible. So I think it's fine. I think it's comfortable to wear. I just don't think it really excels in any area anymore, and I definitely wouldn't. It feels like a shoe that slows you down for me when you're running in it, and as a result I very rarely use it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Invincible 3, but I did like the Invincible 1 and 2, and there were periods when they were just my favourite shoes to use for easy runs. I tend to find them best just for kind of easy runs, not too long. Like, I did do some long runs in them, and I like doing that, but I prefer them just for general mooching, kind of 5 miles, 10k kind of thing, because they are very bouncy, they're very fun, and there were times I really liked using them. But then there were also times when I didn't really feel I wanted to use them because they're a bit too wobbly. And like I say, with the 3, I've got a similar experience where I think it has lost the fun. and I don't think it's really added much stability. So now I'm ended up with a shoe that I don't think is as fun to use. It is quite bouncy. There is still ZoomX foam. There is still nothing really like it on the market in a shoe like this. It's very bouncy, but it doesn't really, like you say, direct you anywhere. So it's quite a mushy feeling at times. It doesn't feel like it's really giving you a lot of oomph. And then it is wobbly. So when I was testing the shoe at first, I did have a little knee niggle, from, my famous knee niggle from smashing it into a radiator. And I didn't really feel comfortable using this shoe. It was wobbling me about a bit. I know Mike had some problems with it. Other people we know have had problems with it. It is a bit wobbly. So you've got to be in the right frame of mind and body to use it. And then when you are using it, it's not as fun as previous versions. It's got a bit heavier. Nike has a thing where they seem to make all their cushion shoes heavier each year for some reason. And yeah, so it lost a bit of the magic for me, and it was a shoe I struggled to really like as a result, having really liked the Invincible 1 and 2 at times. And now there's a lot more competition in the max cushioned area, I'd say. A lot of shoes are getting really good in this area, and one of them that's come out this year with a big improvement, I think, is the Magnify Nitro 2, which you had before us, Tom, because you went with Puma to the Boston Marathon. What do you think of the Magnify Nitro 2?
Well, I've very much enjoyed testing this shoe out. I think for me, I never tested the original Magnify Nitro out. I think Mike you did use that. Okay, so for me, I've tested a lot of Puma shoes over the past year or so, and there's not really many that are my sort of shoe. I mean, there's some great shoes that they've got and great for racing and things, but you know me, I like a big max cushion shoe where possible. I like softness, I like comfort, and so I was really excited to get hold of this, and yeah, I really like it. I think it is a solid shoe. For me, it sort of fits into that world of the Triumph line, where it's not necessarily really soft cushion shoe designed for easy runs. It can do a bit more. I think there's a little bit, the midsole is probably a little bit more responsive for me than what you get in some cushion shoes where it's a bit softer. I think it's a really nice, solid, cushioned to daily shoe. Great grip on it. I think it's really good, and I'd definitely put it in like my top 3 cushion shoes at the moment, probably.
That's high praise for Tom, because he does test all the cushion shoes. Yeah, I did test the original, and it was an okay shoe. It was a pretty solid shoe. I think the changes Puma have made here to give a little bit more cushion and make it all nitro foam do improve the shoe, and I was actually surprised how much I ended up liking the Magnify Nitro 2. So like you say, it is a very cushioned shoe, but it's not just all sink in underfoot. There's certainly a resilience to the foam that does ping you back, and it does make it more versatile. It makes it more enjoyable or easy for easy runs. I prefer a higher drop shoe if I'm going to go and do loads of easy runs. So I like the Triumph. I do think it's very similar to the Triumph, but I prefer the feel of nitro foam underfoot to the Power Run foam in the Triumph. So you've got a lot of similarities going on there, but I think you get a slightly lighter shoe here with the Magnify Nitro compared to the Invincible. You get a slightly more versatile shoe that's very comfortable, stable, because the foam's not completely soft, and the shoe's a bit wider. It's got a good base there and really fantastic outsole, as always with Puma shoes. Good fit. Really does tick all the boxes, I think, for an easy day cruiser. Like, I don't tend to use 40mm shoes for easy runs. Big max cushion shoes I prefer. I mean, obviously, everyone who watches the channel will know I'm a big fan of the Velocity Nitro, which is a similar setup, but a lower stack and a bit lighter, a bit nimbler. But I really like the Magnify Nitro, and I was very happy using it. And I do think it is a good, versatile daily trainer, and a fair bit cheaper, actually, than a lot of the other ones out there. So the change is made. I do think the Nitro foam, I didn't think it was really going to work. Actually, when the first Magnify came out, I thought, oh, it's okay. There's, I think, a bit of a limit to how much nitro foam really works in a shoe. It's because it isn't as soft as some others. But actually making it entire midsole of nitro foam really worked, and I really like how it feels underfoot. So big tick. I was really surprised, and if it'd probably be in my top 2 cushion shoes if we're going to go up to there, maybe 3.
Okay,
I don't know.
wow, you upped it.
Yeah, and actually, even though it's not got a big rocker like a lot of shoes, it still is reasonably smooth. It's not such a big snap through, which sometimes I find with high drop shoes, which I do like. Like I say, I get a bit of forefoot discomfort snapping through off my heel, but I don't really get that with the Magnify Nitro 2 because it's so full of foam, and the foam's got that right level of give underneath. On to the verdict then, Tom. We've got 2 big old cushion shoes here. What are you going to pick? If you're picking a shoe for easy runs, or if you're picking a more versatile shoe, what are you going for?
So if this was a comparison between the Nike Invincible 1 and the Puma Magnify Nitro 2, I would say that they're 2 shoes that are designed for different purposes, and I'd pick it based on what the type of runner that I was. Now, I don't think the Invincible justifies that comparison, or that differentiation of being a shoe that's designed purely for those comfortable, squishy, soft daily runs. recovery runs, that sort of thing. So what I would say is that just based on value, based on versatility, I'm going Magnify Nitro 2 all the way. I just think it's just a great shoe, and I think it's good for a lot of people. Like, you could pick this shoe up as part of a rotation, as your cushion shoe. You could pick it up as your one shoe if you were a general runner that was just ticking off a lot of miles. It's solid, it's durable, it's got great outsole. Yeah, I'm going for Puma Magnify Nitro 2. I struggle to find who I would suggest the Invincible 3 to these days.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like, I still think the Invincible does have a slightly different feel to most shoes because it is that bouncy ZoomX foam, but it is a lot closer to other shoes with this new version, and it still has the problems of the line, the high price, the instability, and the outsole's not as good as the Puma. And I genuinely just prefer the ride of the Puma these days in this Magnify Nitro 2. I think it's a really good foam. It's a really nice balanced ride. It's not something that's necessarily going to knock your socks off, but you'll notice it in a good way. Like, it's comfortable, moves you through nicely. If you want to pick up the pace, you can. Like, it's not a shoe that I'd go and use for a load of speed work, but I do a lot of like little progression runs throughout my week in daily training, especially during marathon training. And it's a shoe that handles those really easily. You know, going from kind of 4:35 minute per K down to about 3:45, that kind of thing. It does it fine. Like, it's a perfectly good shoe for all that. In the same way I'd use the Velocity Nitro for lots of that, those kind of things. And the Invincible is just not a shoe I feel that confident pulling on if I'm tired or a little bit injured. It's not that stable, and I just don't think you get enough from it anymore to justify the slight concerns I have with it. So I would certainly go for the Magnify Nitro, and it is a lot cheaper. And always with Puma, keep an eye out, you'll get a massive deal on them because there's always vouchers popping up on the site and things like that. Whereas Invincible 3, if you are really enamoured of the feel, I'd still be trying to find the Invincible 2 before all those versions disappear.
I always say with Puma, I've got a lot of friends who have recently or over the last couple of years got into running, and every time I see a Puma sale and I see like the Velocity Nitros and things pop up, I always say just pick yourself a pair up as a backup pair when they're really cheap, because they're just great to have around, because you know they just tick a lot of boxes. And
yeah, and they are really practical shoes because the outsole's so good and the ride is not dramatic. Like, there's kind of that balance of modern stuff, like the foams in them are quite modern with the nitrogen infusions and that, but the geometries are set up to be quite traditional shoes. They've got reasonably high drop, there's not massive rockers on them generally, and you know, all those things are really good in some shoes. Like, I love them in something like the Asics Gel Nimbus. I thought I really like a nice rocker to it and that kind of thing, but you know, it's easy to recommend a shoe that is quite traditional, like something like the Magnify Nitros. It's probably not going to really displease you, at least, whereas the Invincible could really wind you up.
Big time. Yeah, there's people that I definitely would. There's not many people that I would suggest it to as a shoe, but I know there's people that I would definitely say don't get this shoe to, who I know wouldn't like it.